Hey everybody, this is Glee. Today we're going to do some style martial arts, and I'm going to review over some things that I've forgotten since my instructor passed away middle of this year. So this is just a practice. This isn't a performance. You're going to see me make mistakes, and I'm going to correct them and review over things. Just lower the angle a bit. Just one more intermission, then we'll get right into I'm going to do some breathing exercises, even though I'm still pretty sick with pneumonia. So if I cough and sputter, it's because I'm still dealing with pneumonia. We'll go into our horse stance, and usually with this school 1, 2, 3, 4, or something where about thereabouts. Fists into our hips. We'll sink down. Exhale, open up the fingers, and lower down, an angle. Exhale, inhale, exhale, shoot. Slowly. Now, be sinking down this time. Down as low as your range of motion allows. That's about it. Didn't do more, but yeah, pneumonia. So I'm going to be working through the double hand to the rear grab techniques or reversals from that kind of situation where you're looking one way and someone's coming up from behind you and grabbing both of your wrists. So the first one is a wrist lock. So you're standing, you're grabbed from behind, you counter grab their wrist, and you turn around and get them into, so they've grabbed, but you counter grabbed, and then you're causing one side or the other to bend on them by doing a wrist lock. In Aikido, it'd be like in the front, and then doing that wrist lock, so extending the arm, and then twisting them, compelling them to fall, or at least to be locked in position. This is a rearward grab, so here our wrists are grabbed from behind, counter grab one of the hands, step forward. Stepping forward allows you to do that rotation that you need, as opposed to just kind of trying to rotate in place. So grab, counter grab, step forward, and you're doing this fairly smoothly in real application, but we're breaking it down. So ideally it would be as quick as you feel those hands grabbing on, and boom, boom, and doing that wrist lock. But for the sake of slow and doing the steps, grabbed, counter grab, step forward, and you can step forward with the other hand. You just have to make sure that you're turning in that direction. But just for the sake of it, we'll just say that we're grabbing their left wrist, stepping forward to the left foot, turning around. And you could do this one-handed, but this technique has you augmenting that wrist lock with both hands. Pivoting one more time, boom, turn around and lock, grabbed, counter grab, step forward and turn and lock. The next one, so we're grabbed from behind again. This time, I'm going to bring the hands up. I'm going to counter grab that person's other hand. I'm going to twist it in place so that it's held in place like that. That would be his hand that I've grabbed. So that's the start of the motion. Counter grabbing, bring the arms up, locking it in place. From here, I'm going to step back, and at the same time that I'm projecting him forward with my upper body, I'm going to kick back with my leg to cause that person to be locked and falling forward. Counter grab, step back, kick back, and lean forward at the same time. So this is kind of a balancing type technique, as if you were doing some kind of yoga posture. And you're doing a pendulum, kicking back and throwing forward, locking their arm, kicking back and throwing back at the same time. We're not throwing and then eventually kicking. We're not tripping and then hopefully throwing. We want to do it at the same time. Let's do a forward fold just to kind of loosen up the lower back, and so we're able to raise our leg a bit more. Grab, bring the hands up, counter grab, lock that arm in place, step back, kick back, and maintaining your balance as you throw them off balance. So that's number 2 from a rear hand double grab. Now, soft techniques as opposed to punching and kicking, joint locks. The joint locks and throws and more subtler techniques are a little more difficult to understand by seeing them and explaining them. They require a couple years more of training as opposed to hard style techniques, which are fairly easy to grasp at the get-go. Just make sure my internet connection is good. Okay. Trying to get on with my chat. My stream doesn't seem to be liking that so much. The technical aspects, hey. Let me just restart this. Okay, hopefully the chat window will show. There we go, that's better. We are live. Oh. Hey, how's it going? I'll just do a quick, for the new viewers, I'm Glee and I'm streaming some self-style martial arts today. Just going to quickly review for our new viewer the breathing exercises. These are, the style that I did is half soft and half hard, so we do some internal, and this is one of the internal exercises. So we're moving into a horse stance. Our fists are at our side. We sink down. We spread the fingers wide, up, and then relax. Showing that from the side. And do a number of these. Inhale, exhale. Doing that yell, and then relaxing. I'm not going to yell too loud, though. I do have pneumonia that I'm getting over, so that was one of the exercises, and then the other one we're kind of sinking, so wrists crossed like Wonder Woman, spread the fingers, and then trace the body down from that horse stance, and sinking as lowly to the ground as you can get, according to your range of motion. If you have any previous injuries, as well, just go to your range of motion. If you're older, maybe you won't be going that low to the ground. And this is kind of a sinking exercise, whereas the other one was a rising exercise. And we'll do some quick breathing exercise. So we're clenching and our thumbs to our nipples and then exploding forward with the widespread fingers in the palms. Take that forward stance now. Fists at the hips. Exhale, shout, spread the fingers. Transition to the other side and down. Chamber the fists. And exhale. So these are kind of like palm strikes, only we're not really doing a hard palm strike. We're just kind of pawing the air at the same time that we're exhaling, developing fluidity in our movement. And one that I didn't show from earlier is actually, so we've done forward, we've done sideways, and also and we're twisting the hands as we're going up. Almost as if we're supporting the heavens with our palms pushing up towards the heavens. So that's a review of the warm-up. Going on to number 3 from the, so we're standing and we're looking forward. We're grabbed from behind, or both our wrists are grabbed with each a singular hand this time. So first one was taking a step forward, counter grabbing and turning and doing a wrist lock. The second one was bringing that hand up, locking that arm up by twisting it, and at the same time stepping back and kicking back and projecting forward. Obviously, done quickly, it'd be more like that, or more like that. Projecting forward and kicking back, causing that person with their locked arm like this to be falling down. And number 4, and number 3. Did we get to 3 yet? Oh, okay, right. Yeah, so counter grabbing, twisting the hand, and stepping forward and locking. Like I said, soft style techniques are really harder to convey than punching and kicking, which are much more easier. But we're starting, we've been grabbed by each wrist, counter grabbing, turning, And we're grabbing them such that their hand is being trimmed like that. So we're rotating their arm, and then we're pressing with our sword hand to further twist that arm and compel them to go to the ground. And stepping forward while we're applying that twist. Grab from behind. You can even trim it around that way and press that sword hand. Grab, turn it around, lock, grab, step forward, turn it around, forward. And if that forward works just too much, just roll along as best you can. You want to step forward with one foot to accommodate the turn so we can fit the rest of that technique in. So we're boom, stepping forward, turn, and stepping forward again. So number four is an arm lock and throw. Yeah, no problem. If anything, it's educational anyway. So if you can't do it, by all means, like I said, go to your range of motion or just watch a number of times until hopefully this trains me in articulating the technique so that a person can visualize it, and eventually you'll just initially get the shape of the technique. And then after much practice, everyone's part. This kind of fine tuning, this takes a number of times, like thousands upon 10,000s of repeating and rehearsing and practicing the same thing over and over. So the fourth one, I'm going to be doing an arm lock and throw. We'll grab from behind both our wrists, bring that arm up, counter grab his hand, hook my arm underneath his arm. And what I want to do, what I'm going to be doing, just not with mannequin, but I'm going to be hooking his arm and then pressing on it to lock the arm out. So initially hooking the arm, so I'm pulling in with this arm and pushing with the forward hand to lock that arm out. So that's the initial, is that locked arm. So hands are grabbed, counter grab, release the right hand, press against the tricep, press on their wrist to lock the arm, and then from here stepping back, and I'm going to throw that person. So it's not like judo, I'm not lifting their weight, and I'm not sinking my hip up and lifting their body weight and throwing it. I'm locking them so that they go up on their tiptoes of their feet, and they're not so difficult to throw. Them taking that leg back and pivoting in place and throwing. Counter grabbing their hand, releasing the right hand, pressing against their tricep, pushing against their wrist, stepping back and throwing them. So they've been grabbed, he's been counter grabbed, his arm is locked and thrown. So that's what's happening to them. So in the first technique, they're grabbed, turn around, lock their wrist, and they're thrown. So that's what's happening to them on the first one, is counter grab, wrist, and wrist lock and throw. On the second one, counter grab them up high, kicking back and causing them to fall onto their face or fall forward. The third one, counter grabbed, and their arm is counter grabbed. They're twisted this way to compel them down to the ground. Let me show you. So on the first technique, what's happening is counter grab and wrist lock. So I'm the attacker. I'm grabbed. The wrist is counter grabbed and compelled into a wrist lock and throw. The second technique, bring that hand up, locking the arm out, kicking and compelling the person, the attacker, to fall down forward. The second one, the wrist is grabbed and twisted. The arm is twisted forward towards them, compelling them to go down. The fourth one, so the fourth one, they grab. Their arm is counter grabbed. It's twisted to lock it, or to lock it this way. Been counter grabbed, pressed on the bicep, and pressed on the wrist to lock this arm, so that they're up on their tiptoes, and then thrown down onto the ground. So that's what's happening to the attacker on number 4. Number 5 is another. So instead of a rearward wrist lock, it's boom. Wait a minute. I got that. I'm turning over, and then I'm doing that lock, whereas before I was just blindly grasping at the wrist counter and then throwing one. This one is still a wrist lock, but I'm reaching over. So I'm grab like this and reaching with that left hand over to counter grab, and then doing that wrist lock. Grab from behind, pivoting in place, and wrist lock. One more time. Grab, pivoting over in place, grab, counter grab, and doing that wrist lock. So we've had 2 points where we've done that same wrist lock. We've just done them from different angles. The first one was kind of a blind technique. I pivoted and turned, and then did the wrist lock. This other one I'm turning so I can see what I'm grabbing, and then doing that wrist lock. And the next one, so this time I'm being grabbed on the side of the shoulder, I'm counter grabbing, stepping back, and I'm pivoting my hip so they're trapped in place and twisting the wrist and throwing them off of me like that. In fact, I probably won't even step forward, so grab, wrist is locked, and throw them over, compelling them that way. Grab, lock that arm, lock that wrist, step forward, actually probably step forward with this hand, and then pivot them off my body. So here, grabbed on my shoulder, I trap the hand, I twist it, step forward, and turn my body and lock it. So grab, wrist locked, and thrown, or grab, turn the other way, wrist locked, and thrown. One more time. Trap, turn, lock, and turn the body. And you can do that in place by all means. You're just adding a little more momentum by taking a step forward and pivoting in place. The other one's kind of an interesting walk, so how does that start off with now? So the tops of the shoulders have been grabbed, so the attacker's grabbing on both your shoulders from here. Trapping the hand again. What was it? Oh yeah. Grabbed, so I grab one hand, peel it off me. It's that same motion, like that other technique where we grabbed and locked the hand, or grabbed and held it in place. Someone's grabbing, we're counter grabbing, we're doing a bit of a twist. And this time we're going to remove their hand and lock it and push ourselves sideways to lock their arm and compel them to go sideways. Like I said, south-to-south techniques are pretty intricate. They're very subtle. Lock. So he's grabbed the top of my shoulders. I reach and grab one hand, lock it. I interlock my knife hand to his forearm bone, to his radius bone, press sidewards, and compel him to go sidewards. So what that looks like, grab. He's grabbing, counter grabbed, forward and lock, and moved sideways, lock, and sideways. So my ulnar bone against his radius bone, trap, twist, move his hand, press my forearm, outer forearm against his inner forearm to lock him, shuffle sideways, and throw him like that. And these are sets of similar techniques. Starting off with a series of blows. So he's grabbed me here. If he's grabbed me high, I'm going to turn around, chop to his ribs, turn around, chop to his body, chop to the ribs again, kind of grab his hand and palm heel to his face. So if he's grabbing high, his midsection is open. So I turn around, chop to the ribs, chop to the neck, chop to the ribs again, trap the hand, step forward, and palm strike or push as he's counter grabbed, pushing to his face. One moment while I find my breath. Just take a quick intermission. So the next 3 or 6 are kind of similar to each other. Starts off with a single hand grab on the shoulder. So being grabbed again this time by one hand, whichever hand is free. Chop to the opposite side, chop to this side, chop to that side, kind of grab underneath, underhook them, stepping forward and clawing the face. So grab on this side, chop to the neck, chop to the ribs, chop to the neck again, underhook their arm, stepping forward and clawing to the face. Kind of grabbed, chop to the neck, chop to the face, chop to the neck, underhook their arms, stepping forward, clawing to the face. And the next one, the grabbing, I think it's still the shoulder that they're grabbing. Yeah, it's still the shoulder, so grabbing the shoulder, chop, chop, chop. Wait a minute. Grabbing this side, so chop. Yeah, no, it is that. So grabbing on this side, chop to the ribs, chop to the neck, chop to this side. No, you're right. Okay, sorry. So this is how it differs than the previous two. So whatever hand is being grabbed, chop, chop, and hooking the arm. This time when we're underhooking, we're actually causing them to lock their arm out. So we're hooking underneath, employing to twist their arm. Chop. Hook underneath and turn your body and twist their arm. Chop, chop. Hooking around and twisting in place. Being grabbed here by their arm. Chop, chop. Stepping around, underhooking them and pivoting and turning, causing that gripped arm. So chop, chop, and then kind of grabbing their arm and twisting them. Chop, chop. Twisting their arm around like that. Chop, yeah. Chop, turn, use your whole body into that strike. Chop. either step into it or yeah, that's the way it is. Like I said, pneumonia, brain fog. But that's a good head start on things anyway. So just let that be for now. I'll go find someone to raid and I'll get some hot drink to make myself feel better. I hope you learned at least something useful out of that. And thank you for taking your time. And that's why I'm reviewing, like I told you, it's a practice, it's not a performance. I've forgotten some of that too since my instructor died and the group hasn't resumed practice, so it's a repeat for me. Some of the techniques really meshed with me and I can remember them a long time, but some of them, they're just rather complex and they didn't really make sense, so hence some of those ones don't retain as long as others. Okay, well, I see Tony's gym is here, so since he's fitness and health, we're gonna give him another. We'll give him a raid. And I'm sure he's quite vim and vigor. I'm sure he's quite healthy, probably doing weightlifting. I'm going to take some more antibiotics and hopefully kick this pneumonia. Make sure we got Tony's. Yep, looks like I got it right. We are ready to raid everybody. Thanks again for joining me. If you do like what you see, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much for taking your time out to join with me today, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Here we go, raiding now.